Several days later. I wonder what else I can write on. The blank volume I had brought with me from the Heights was filled from cover to cover with my notes, girls taking her job seriously. Jevite had given me 3 extra scrolls used for record keeping at my request. I was on the second one now, and probably more than halfway through. I couldn't tell if I was happy or worried. My brush suddenly paused in midair. I've written everything I know about the culture, so next should be... the monarchy? I'd already made a bulleted list of what I'd learned from the old shopkeeper in town, and from the people working in the palace. But those were just the opinions of outsiders. I didn't know the real story. Asking the royal family isn't as easy as it sounds, though. To put it in perspective, it would be like some troublemaker from the Heights asking annoying questions at the temple. They would be turned away immediately. This is just our first expedition. I probably have enough for now, but if I could only probe deeper, who knew what I might discover? I'll talk with Jevite about it. If he answers no, he answers no. I guess that's true. Do you lose anything by asking? Maybe. Jevite, are you there? Maybe he's out. Jevite? Oh! Jevite's mom is here with the extra eyeball in the middle. Alright, our first interaction with you. Let me get a closer look at you, girl. Okay, I was trying to figure out if you had, like, translucent sleeves, because in the CG it almost looked like you were really muscular, and I'm like, is that what's happening, or is it the sleeves? It's the sleeves. What? Who is it? The Queen Mother. I'd seen her in town before and had a pretty good sense of her personality from the rumors and stories I'd heard, so I instantly recognized her. But it was my first time speaking directly to her, and my words caught in my throat. I wondered if I should feign ignorance. All the information swirling around my head was making it difficult to speak.
Mother, I told you I was going out. See? She's waiting for me. Oh, I guess I might as well... Allow me to introduce you. Mother, this is Cyrus. She's one of the people who came from across the fog. Cyrus, this is my mother, the late king's wife. That is to say, the Queen Mother.
And her name is... It seemed that Jevite wanted to make an official introduction, even though I already knew who she was. Having guessed his intentions, I nodded slightly. It's a pleasure to meet you. I'm Cyrus.
Maeve. I had been curious about you, Kasharak, but I must say you seem surprisingly normal.
Right, I forgot that we got your name before. It just completely escaped my mind. Despite her supposed curiosity, I didn't detect much interest in her voice. She had already paid a visit to Adage, but apparently I didn't warrant her attention. Actually, that reminds me. Queen Mother, I apologize for Adage's behavior the other day.
Oh? You apologize? What did he do?
It seems he rather bluntly declined an invitation to drinks with the Queen Mother.
Is this true, Mother?
Oh, she got caught! That's the face of someone who got caught!
Well, it's rather embarrassing. You see, I had heard from one of the handmaidens that he was a doctor.
Uh-huh, okay, so my doctor theory was onto something.
So I thought he might be in possession of some sort of rejuvenating medicines. Mother... Don't give me that look. I am still a woman. I want to remain beautiful until the end of time. I see. I guess I shouldn't be surprised. I'm sorry, Cyrus. I'm in the middle of something right now. If we could talk later. No, I was just leaving. I only came to pass the time anyway. Far be it from me to keep my precious son from spending time with a lovely young lady. I appreciate your consideration. I'm glad the two of you got the chance to meet, Mother.
The Queen Mother gave a slight bow and began leisurely walking toward the back of Jevite's room. The decorative bells on her clothes jingled as she moved. Then they were silenced by the sound of a closing door. Ah. Okay, so your room's a little bit different. You got a nice balcony.
This room has several hidden entrances. We typically use that one over there.
I see. It makes sense as a precautionary measure. If there's only one way in or out, you could easily get trapped in here.
That's right. It probably drives the servants crazy, though. It makes it much easier for me to slip away. Rejuvenating medicines, huh?
My group and I were discussing why she would have reached out to Adage, but I never thought it would be that. She was even blushing. I feel so guilty. What's the matter, Jevite?
No, it's nothing. Anyway, what brings you here? Can I do something for you?
I'm not sure if it's appropriate for me to ask this, but I'd like to know more about your country's monarchy.
The monarchy?
I've more or less learned the basics during my time here, but I wanted to ask someone from the royal family directly.
Looking for the inside story, huh?
Is it too much to ask?
No. It's not like I have anything I want to hide. I'm just worried I might have trouble explaining things that seem obvious to me, but wouldn't necessarily be for you. I don't really know much about how other countries are run, so is it okay if I use Cainabel as my reference point?
Of course! Thank you so much for indulging me.
Don't thank me yet. I'm still worried I won't be able to answer all your questions. Alright. Why don't we jump straight to the nation's founding?
In the beginning.
This country was born in the aftermath of the She-Lab.
She-Lab?
Do you not have that word? It means swelling waters.
Okay, after the flood. Oh, that sounds like it could be the Great Flood, the one that covered the whole world.
Yes, exactly. We were affected by it just like everyone else. When the She-Lab began and the people were in a panic, a man named Cainabel built a great ship and gave them shelter.
Ah, okay, so that's their survivor story. Cool.
The ship was tossed by the She-Lab for 100 days and nights, circling the world before finally running aground here. Cainabel spent half a day piling up mud to create the earth, and in a single night, he cultivated the soil and gave the people a place to sleep.
Damn.
The survivors settled this land, and Cainabel became their leader. This is my country's oldest legend, passed down from the beginning. The king's duty is to ensure the prosperity of the country and the livelihoods of its people. After the death of great King Cainabel, these responsibilities were passed on to his descendants, and eventually to me and my brother. What about in your country? The priest seems to hold the highest position, but were his ancestors always in charge?
No, Saint Yune is ageless and immortal. He's one of a kind.
Immortal? That can't be true, can it? I mean, I know our story is far-fetched, but that's just unbelievable. Though I guess legends tend to be that way.
He didn't seem to take Saint Yune seriously. Well, maybe he'll get to meet him one day. Without any proof, I doubt I could change his mind. Swallowing my frustration, I began asking the questions that had been bubbling up inside me. You described your monarchy as a direct succession, but right now there are two of you in charge, not one. Could you explain to me again how this came to be?
Of course, but it's really not that complicated. In this country, the ruler can name whoever they would like as their successor. In theory, even a slave could become king if nominated.
Oh, interesting.
The late king died without choosing a successor. That was unprecedented, so... There was some debate, but historically kings have been succeeded by their biological children, so it was decided that we should follow in that tradition. The problem was, he had 2 children. In terms of birth order and ability, my older brother was the most obvious choice. The so-called Queen Mother camp was reluctant to support this, however, so a 2-king system was agreed upon.
The Queen Mother camp. I see. The story I heard from the old shopkeeper somehow felt more real now. The 2 kings may have been officially in charge, but the Queen Mother's influence behind the scenes was far from negligible. What do you think will happen going forward? Will the monarchy remain split?
Well, the current system is unstable, and will probably fail before long. Any form of leadership that comes to a screeching halt each time 2 people disagree isn't very healthy or productive, is it? But as for which of us will inherit the throne, my wise older brother is the likely candidate, although it's hard to know for sure. Like I said, this is unprecedented. If only the late king had lived longer. If he had at least chosen a successor, then we wouldn't be in this mess. It was a hell of a parting gift. You know, a monarchy. It's not just the king living it up behind the palace walls. You have to lead the people, just as the moon illuminates the darkness, and provide for them, just as the sun gives life to the crops. Your body belongs to your country, from before you're born until after you die. Well, does that clarify things at all?
Yes. I know it's a cliché, but that sounds like a lot of pressure.
We live off of taxes collected from the people. We have to devote ourselves to them in order to set a good example. And besides, it would be much worse to see the country fall. That's why my only choice is to give my life to preserve it. Wow, that didn't sound like me at all. It actually sounded respectable. Please don't credit my name if you put that in your notes.
I'm not so sure that's true. I think it's just like you to face your responsibilities head-on like that.
I appreciate the sentiment, but my brother is the one more suited to these things. I wish I could find a way to just quietly step down. Like eloping with someone, for instance. Say, Cyrus, would you marry me?
No. You're not her first suitor and you're not her last, buddy. What?
Of course we wouldn't remain here. And I guess the neighboring countries are also out of the question. We'd be sitting ducks for the royal families. Which means your country will be best. No one there knows who I am.
Oh my goodness, I'm envisioning an ending now for Jevite, where we bring him back and Mom is just delighted. Like, my girl went out there and got herself a husband. Oh, I'm excited. Please let that happen.
Think of it as a favor to me. Well, what do you say?
Dude, I can't. My heart belongs to another. I can't. We don't really know each other well enough to get married.
Well then, let's rectify that, shall we? What would you like to know? I'm only what you see before you, but I'll show you everything if you ask. And in return, you can reveal more of yourself to me. It isn't fair that I should be the only one to bear it all.
But please keep your clothes on! What exactly are you planning to bear?
I was only kidding. You really are so inexperienced in these matters. I just wanted to tease you to see how you'd respond.
Jevite.
I'm sorry. I won't do it again. I promise.
Oh, you're trouble. King Jevite, there you are. King Jereme has summoned you.
Okay, I'll be right there. Sorry to cut this short, but some people just don't know how to read the mood. You know what I mean? I enjoyed talking with you. I'll see you later.
Yes, take care. Well, I'll give him this. He shot his shot, at least. I'm glad I was able to ask him about the monarchy, but I got the feeling that I was treading on treacherous ground, and it left me unsettled. In the past, certain people in the temple had abused their positions of power for personal gain. I had imagined things like that didn't happen in Cainabel, where the chosen one ruled as king. I guess this country has its own problems to deal with.
Yeah. And they're all Queen Mother related.
The nights were quiet in Cainabel. Even the cold that snatched away the desert heat couldn't penetrate the many layers of bedding I was under. When I shut my eyes, it felt just like being back in the Heights. Except there was something different tonight. Strange sounds disturbed the silence, like the ripples on a pond. I slowly awoke from my slumber. Footsteps and some sort of commotion. The restlessness on the other side of the door reminded me of waking up in the call room at work when an incident broke out. At least there's no alarm this time. But I was getting an uneasy feeling. The lack of voices wasn't helping. Well, I won't learn anything waiting around here. The disquieting sounds quickly faded into the distance and then suddenly stopped altogether. My fear only grew with the silence. Something was definitely happening just on the other side of my door. I should try to see what's going on. I took up my sword, just in case, and opened the door. Oh, there's blood. Lots of blood. Bloody blood. And on the other side I found... That's... blood. The floor was covered in blood. This is our first time hearing this, song in the game. But whose? What on earth?
Huh? What's that?
Adage!
Hey, what happened?
I don't know. By the time I got here, the hallway was already empty. Investigations like this were typically handled by specialized detectives. I didn't have the qualifications or the experience necessary. But I'm the only police officer here, so I'll have to do it. Wow, Finn? Where did Finn go? Did he just, like, leave? Did he ride off into the desert? I followed the trail of blood as I spoke to Adage. That's Jevite's room. His door was slightly ajar. An ominous feeling crept over me as I paused at the threshold. This is no time to be timid. I have to hurry. I grasped the handle and flung the door open. Big puddle of blood.
Is that Jevite's blood?
I don't know. There isn't anyone here.
I can see that. What are you standing around for? Let's go.
Go? Before I could ask where to, Adage stepped out in front of me. His eyes narrowed as he held up the bag he had brought with him from the Heights.
To the patient. We're bound to find them if we keep following this trail of blood.
Adage said, taking off at a brisk walk. I followed behind him as if pulled by his momentum. You're so calm, Adage.
You can't be a doctor if you panic at the sight of blood. I've got a bad feeling about this, though. It doesn't look good, but let's hold judgment until we get there.
What? Don't talk like that. We don't even know if it's Jevite's blood.
I never said it was. You're the one jumping to conclusions here, not me.
You're right. I'm sorry.
Forget it. You have nothing to apologize for, and given the circumstances... Well... No, never mind. It's not my job to question who or why. My job is to keep people alive. That's all I can do. Cyrus!
Finn!
Thank goodness. I was so worried. When I came back to the palace, there was all this blood in the hall. I was afraid something might have happened to you.
Were you legit out in the desert for a ride? Finn, what's going on with you?
So everything's fine as long as she's okay.
Oh! Called out.
Huh? What's that supposed to mean? Sorry. Unlike you, I happen to be a little on edge about this whole situation. Wait, I hear voices.
Me too. They're coming from that direction. The trail of blood led to a medical treatment room at the back of the palace. It sounded like there was a crowd of people inside. The din of voices grew louder with each step we took.
What's the smoke?
It smells sweet. I think it's incense.
Seriously? Is that supposed to help?
Excuse me? The smell inside was overpowering and I fell into a coughing fit. Through a veil of purple smoke, I saw an old man wearing animal skins. His head was adorned with the bones of some sort of carnivore and I couldn't make out his face. He was fervently chanting in front of Jevite, who lay sprawled out on a bed in the center of the room. Is this some sort of ceremony? Precious jewels were spread out across the room, blocking our path.
What are you doing? Out of the way!
Adage pushed me aside and approached the bed, stepping on jewels as he went. There he goes. He extended a hand to examine Jevite, but the old man quickly batted it away. The shaman.
Begone, Kasharak. Do not interfere with the ceremony.
I see. It's like talking to a wall.
Adage glanced at the old man before roughly stripping away the cloth covering Jevite's body. The flowers and offerings that had been placed on his chest clattered to the floor along with a metal plate.
What are you doing?
Surgery. I'm about to save your precious king.
Ridiculous. What could a Kesharak like you possibly do?
What good are you if you're just going to stand by and watch him die? He's still breathing. Hey, Cyrus, this guy is in the way. Get him out of here.
But I can't just... This country has its own way of doing things.
Do you want to watch Jevite die too?
I didn't say that. But your belittling attitude is only going to provoke them.
If prayers could save lives, I would pray until my voice gave out. But this is reality. It isn't God who saves lives, it's people. Put your faith in me, not some absurd magic.
Adage wasn't wrong. At the very least, his argument resonated with my sense of rationality. But we were in Cainabel. Their culture was different from ours. Was it really okay to trample on their beliefs in the name of doing the right thing? I want to save Jevite's life, but I don't want to disrespect their culture.
Cyrus. Once long ago, Heshera, the god of medicine, released the sacred bird Pesachet into Cainabel to stop the spread of a plague.
Okay.
We are the descendants of Pesachet. Please, give us the space.
Finn's voice cut through my internal conflict. He spoke smoothly and softly, like he was reading a story from a book. Somebody's been doing their research.
You Kesharak are descended from Pesachet?
Yes. We came from beyond the fog to help Cainabel now in its moment of crisis. It isn't a coincidence. It's the will of Heshera. We have secret knowledge. Please give us the room.
Descendants of the sacred bird. You must save our king.
Yes, we will.
Wow, Finn, you were cool.
It just won't be me personally.
Finn breathed a sigh of relief as he bolted the door.
Whew, that was intense. Impressive. I could almost kiss you.
I mean...
What? Come on, don't be creepy. That was obviously a joke. Bah. I'm starting treatment now. Better late than never, I suppose.
Adage set his bag down on a chair and quickly arranged his equipment on the table. I called out to him from a distance so I wouldn't get in the way. How does it look?
Too soon to say. The bleeding has stopped at least. It appears to have been caused by a laceration. The wound isn't terribly deep, but it's quite long.
Not deep, so dagger length or like nail length? Like women's nails?
It caused significant blood loss. If I had to guess, he was slashed from behind.
By who?
How should I know? I'm not a coroner or a police officer. If anything, you should be the one telling me.
Actually, that work is typically left to the special investigators. My job would be to preserve the crime scene.
Thanks for that fascinating tidbit. His breathing is shallow and his color is pale. That's consistent with the degree of blood loss I'm seeing.
Ooh. Get that Adage CG in here just randomly. Love it, even though I break everything, but I love it.
Ugh. There's so much to do, it's making my head hurt. First I need to know his blood type, then find a suitable donor, explain what a transfusion is, persuade them to donate. And in the meantime, he's liable to succumb to his injuries.
Don't be so pessimistic.
I was just processing likely outcomes. You don't have to snap at me. All I can do is give it my best effort and pray to their so-called god of medicine.
Does the transfusion have to come from another Cainabel citizen?
What do you mean?
I have a unique kind of blood. Apparently, I'm a universal donor. Yes, I'm like, there's something with Cyrus's blood. What was it? What was it? That's what it was.
Ah, yes. The so-called golden blood.
So would it work?
I believe so, yes. It shouldn't matter where you're from. Even lamb's blood has been used in the past.
Interesting.
Take a seat there, Cyrus. I'll perform the transfusion directly from your elbow. Finn, help me lower Jevite to the table.
Are you sure this is alright?
That's a question for the donor. All I have to do is insert a needle. Don't worry, I'll make sure she's fine. I'm not about to have you spilling my blood.
I sword thirst for blood. Finn, what are you talking about? That is so out of pocket. What? Are you well?
Now you're cracking jokes. I'm surprised you're so calm. That's good at least. I don't like having overly sensitive types near me. I find anxiety to be infectious. Everything's ready on this end. All that's left is to stick you with this needle.
That's a lot bigger than the ones used for immunizations.
Yes, you'll feel a sharp prick, but try to bear the pain.
I'll be alright. I'm used to getting hurt in my line of work.
I knew I could count on you.
I'm just gonna shut up. My blood flowed through the clear tube into Jevite's body. Do you think Ulrik is just sound asleep through all this excitement, by the way? He's just... Although it was called golden blood, there was nothing remarkable about its appearance. I wonder if this will really help. His lips were completely blue as he lay on the treatment table. I need to stop. I can't lose faith. I reassured myself. Jevite was going to be alright. I mean, I would hope so, because Adage is taking care of him after all.
I see. Thank you. You may leave now.
Now what?
I can't believe this is happening again. That fool brother of mine. It's just one thing after another. Those Kesharak. Bring them to me at once.
I sense trouble.
King Jevite. What will happen if the gods abandon